Okay, so today's lecture is about implementation of inheritance. In the earlier lecture, we have seen what is inheritance and what are the different types of inheritance, right? So now let's see how we are going to implement the inheritance. That means how we are going to code it, right? First of all, just a review back, what is inheritance? It is a simple is a relationship. When we say is a relationship, that means we have a parent class, right? Then there are certain classes which are inheriting the properties of the parent class. Those particular classes are also called as the child class or the subclass, right? They are also called as the child class or the subclass. Now, what is the main thing? What is the main agenda behind this? What is the advantage of this inheritance is reuse of the code. Why and how it is happening? Simply when we are defining a class that is a vehicle, it has certain properties which are common in car also and truck also, right? So car can have its new attributes, plus it can inherit all the attributes those are in vehicle. So all the code that should be written for car which has the same attributes, that particular can be avoided just by inheriting the class that is the vehicle. So this is how we can inherit all the properties of vehicle in the car class. So that is why this particular car class can be called as the child class or the subclass, while the vehicle class can be called as the parent class or the base class, right? It is also called as the car class, can also be called as the derived class. So now, same with the truck. Now, let's see how we are going to do it. We have seen that we have different types of inheritance. The first is single level inheritance. In this single level inheritance, let's see how the syntax goes. We are going to define the class. Let's define a class that is the base class or the parent class. Let's name it as base only. Okay, so class and the class name. So name of the class is base. Then we are going to start the curly braces. We are going to define the data members, then the functions, and we'll close the curly braces and give a semicolon to complete the class. This is how the base class is defined. Another class we are going to define as the derived class. Class derived data members functions, same way we are going to define the derived class. The only thing how we are going to inherit is this is the main syntax. This is the main line which is inheriting the base class. How? Class derived colon public base. That means derived class is publicly inheriting the base class. That means now derived class can access the attributes and the functions of base class publicly. This is how the syntax goes. Now let's take an example of single level inheritance. Let's see the code. This is the simple code that is using namespace std include iostream. Now we are going to define the class that is vehicle. So in class vehicle, this is the name of the class vehicle. We have public access a specifier, integer mileage. I have defined these two data members. These are the two data members or the attributes we can call, right? So that is int mileage is equal to 30 and int cost is equal to 500. Now I'm going to define the function for this particular class, or it is also called as the method, right? So this is what, this is the function. That is put void. Why we are using void? We are not going to return any value. Put vehicle details. In this, I am going to print. Cout is for print. I am a vehicle. Then cout /n is for next line. Mileage of vehicle is, I'm going to give the mileage. Cout /n cost of vehicle is, I'm going to print the cost, right? And curly braces close. This is the complete then curly braces closed for the class and semicolon. So this particular is the complete class. This we have defined the class. Now I'm going to define one more class as the class car with the name car. I want this class car to be the subclass or the child class of vehicle. How to do that? That means I want to inherit the vehicle class, right? So how to do it? The syntax is this: class car colon public vehicle. That means the car class is going to inherit the properties of vehicle class publicly. This particular line gives the syntax for defining the car class as the subclass and vehicle class as the parent class. Now this is public. I've defined two attributes here. String color is equal to blue. Int tires is equal to 4. Now I have this is data members again for subclass car. Now we have the function defined in this. The function is void show car details. It is going to print what? I am a car. Then it is going to print the color of the car is and going to define the color. It is going to print the number of the tires in a car are and will give the number of tires. This is closing of function and this is closing of the class. So this particular complete class is what? Now this is a subclass. This is another class called car and now this is a subclass. Why? If I'm not writing this particular part public vehicle, then it is a simple class. It is not a subclass. Okay. Now I'm going to define the int main. That is, in main program, I'm going to instantiate the car. That means I'm going to create an instance or an object for the car that is C1 with the name C1. So car C1 semicolon, and I'm going to call the function which is from the class vehicle, not from the class car. That is, the name is put underscore vehicle underscore details. So it is C1. Obviously, I have to use the object name. That is C1 dot put underscore vehicles underscore details and semicolon and return 0 and close it. So what it is going to do? It is going to use, it has the access of this particular function. Even though I have not defined the function in the car class. But how it is going to access it? Because it has publicly inherited the vehicle class, it has made its parent class. That is why it can access, it can call this particular function. And now what will be the output? The output will be this: I am a vehicle. In next line, it will be mileage of vehicle is, that is 30. Then it will be cost of vehicle is colon 500. So this will be the output, right? So this is how the single level inheritance is defined or implemented. Now we move to multi-level inheritance. The syntax for this is, I'm going to same way, I'm going to create a class A, class B. Now this class B is publicly inheriting the class A, the same syntax is used. So here I can say the class B is a child class for class A and this is multi-level. So that means it is inheriting, I'm going to create a new class that is inheriting the properties of class B, right? So class C is publicly inheriting the properties of class B. So that means class C is inheriting properties from class B and class B inheriting the properties of class A. The same way as the child is inheriting certain properties from parents and parents are inheriting certain properties from grandparents. So this is multi-level. Now let's move to the demo program. We have created a class that is called as the grandparent. So public, I have defined a string here, string name. I have defined a function, this is the data member. I have defined a function out here that is with get underscore name and passed a parameter that is string n. So name is equal to n colon and curly braces close, right? Then I have defined one more function out here. This is function 1 within the class and this is function 2. Why? I am scanning here. Why I am giving this parameter? Because I am going to scan the, I am going to take the input from the user. Okay, here I'm going to print. So void put underscore name. This is the next function to print the name. So cout greater than sign, name is the name. Close, close the curly braces and semicolon. This is a complete class. This particular class is which class? Grandparent class. Now I'm going to create one more class, that is the parent class. So parent class parent. Now this line says what? Public grandparent. That means the parent class is inheriting the properties of grandparent class publicly. This means what? That the parent class is now the child class for the grandparent class. Grandparent class is the base class and parent class is the derived class. Now I'm going to define the public access specifier. Then int age is what? Data member. I'm going to take the two functions, one for getting the age and one for printing the age, right? So it is get age, int a parameter is passed for int age is equal to a. Then I'm going to print this. For this I have defined a function, that is function 2 with name put age. Cout age is age. Now close the braces with semicolon. This is the sub class for grandparent. Now I have created one more class, that is the child class. Now this particular child class is again going to inherit certain properties from parent class. So I have created this particular class as a child class as the derived class or subclass for the parent class parent. Now public string gender. Again, I'm going to take the function there for getting the gender from user and printing the gender and closing the braces. Now I'm going to define the int main, and within this I'm going to instantiate the class, object of the class child. So child C. Now again I have to use this way. This is the syntax we all know. C dot get name I have given Rajat. C dot get age I have given 25. C dot get gender I have given male. So you can see this is from grandparent class name. This is from parent class age, and this is from child class. Same way I'm going to print it. So I'm going to call the functions cput age, cput gender and cput name. Again cput age is from parent class, gender is from child class and name is from grandparent class. All these can be accessed from these class. Why? How can we access these all these function? Though we have only the object of child class, right? C, but we can access because we are inheriting all these classes as parent classes, and this is multi-level, right? So the final output will be, it will be Rajat 25 male, right? So this is how it is going to define the, that is name is Rajat, age is 25 and gender is male. Fine. So this is multi-level. Now we move to the next, that is multiple inheritance. The syntax is, that means multiple means one, there is a class C and it is inheriting the properties from parent class. There are two parent classes, from A also and from B also. So here we can define a class A and class B, and there is a class C which is a child class for both the classes A and B. So class C colon public A and B, that means class C is going to inherit the properties from publicly from class A and class B. So this is how we can make the two parent classes for one child class. Again we are going to see the demo program. I have created a parent class the same way. We all know how to create the class. Public void par, I have defined one function, that is, this is parent 1. I'm printing this is parent 1. I've created one more class, parent 2, public. Again, I'm defining the function, that is, it is going to print this is parent 2. And now I'm going to create a class that is with the name child, and it is going to inherit the properties of parent 1 and parent 2. That means it has created two parents. And this is the child class. This is the subclass. Here I'm going to define function that is show child. So it is going to print I am a child, right? Now in int main, in the main function, I'm going to, first thing I'm going to create, I'm going to instantiate the child class. So child obj I have given as the object name. So obj par1, I'm going to call this particular function, this function, and this function. I've called all the functions with obj dot only. Why? Because these all are inherited as the parent classes, right? Return 0. Now what it will print? It will give the output as, firstly it will give, this is parent 1, this is parent 2, and I am a child. So this will be the output. So this is how we are going to, implement and use the inheritance, that is single level, multi-level, and multiple inheritance in the programming. Thank you very much.